and you mentioned body worn cameras, and those, I think, those who were not big fans of law enforcement wanted us all to have these. And now that we have them, it basically proves that we're doing right most of the time. And I know for me personally, on a very, mundane level, it's gotten me out of a lot of complaints where someone would say that I cursed at them or I called them this or whatever. I was like, dude, there was body worn camera footage that shows exactly what happened. But body worn cameras, as effective as they can be at helping to paint the picture of what happened, you know, they don't tell you everything. For instance, in a physical sense, my body worn camera is facing this way. If I'm looking this way, I'm not necessarily seeing what my body worn camera is saying. Plus, there's the whole interpretation aspect. Whereas just because the camera sees something doesn't mean I see it and perceive it in the way that you see it watching the body worn camera footage on your couch the next day. Hence the no judging based on Monday morning quarterback from Graham versus Connor. But it's frustrating because that does tend to happen. And we all know, I mean, everybody with a, half a brain understands that the news is only showing the snippet right here where the officer finally used whatever force, not the huge lead up to it. And they're going to paint law enforcement in the most, damaging light possible, because that's what sells, I was going to say newspapers, but that's what sells, I don't know, subscriptions or gets likes or whatever it is in this, social media world that we're in. But it's frustrating and it's hard to find young people who are very qualified who want to be cops. When you became a cop and when I became a cop, it was very competitive. I mean, I remember sitting in a room with thousands of people, to try to get hired. And now it's like, I don't know. I mean, unless it's your burning passion, I don't think people are going to enter law enforcement, not the people we want.
It's tough. Yeah. Recruitment is down throughout the country. And I'll just say this, because it dovetails with the BWC unit. My last 3 years of full-time police work were spent working in the BWC unit. And I'll tell you how bad law enforcement is. At that time, my first day in my new unit, my chief of police comes over, and he wasn't the worst guy, but he made a point of coming over to my office and saying, he said, "Kevin, you're not going to be reviewing use of force on video, right?" And I said, no, chief, I didn't know that. And the amazing thing is after that, I worked on every single officer involved shooting until I retired from the police department. And I edited together the first public records release of BWC videos. And I had asked for multiple schools to go to digital video schools and digital video evidence. And they wouldn't send me. So I sent myself. So I had educated myself about how to interpret and analyze digital video evidence. And I asked for some advanced software back in the day. It was called Input Ace. Now it's called Axon. The people that put out the tasers have now bought that company. So it's called Axon Investigate. And so I used those software along with Adobe Premiere Pro in my job. And, just as for instance, video is not a continuous thing. Most body-worn cameras are shot at about 29.97 or roughly 30 frames per second, which means there's 30 individual photos. And because of something called compression, not all video is each picture is what they call an iframe. For instance, up in here in this picture, it may be reconstituted by the program because nothing's happening up here. So you have compression, you have this lens distortion. For instance, in a BWC camera, they use a fisheye lens. Well, it's going to cause this line over here to curve. So you're going to have lens distortion. And that can make objects look further away than they actually are. I worked a shooting in which the shooting took place at about 10 feet away from the officer, but it looked like it was 20 feet or so, which distorts, the depth perception of the images. And then you have a variety of different things that go on with digital video, and it's instead of looking at video as one piece of the evidence, like you said, just because the camera focused on me now is capturing me doesn't mean that I'm not looking over here. Or if the camera, which is mounted 12 to 18 inches below my line of sight, is capturing one thing, my head turns and I'm focused on something else. So there's a lot of research out there now that used eye trackers and compared that to what the camera was capturing and found a lot of difference there. So I've even gone in and in post incident analysis found the subject with that drawing. For instance, a local case was a subject, he was a juvenile that was walking around for whatever reason, the streets of Akron with a plastic gun pointing it at houses. And so a caller was alarmed, put out a 911 call. The officer pulls up and the kid lifts his hoodie up and draws his plastic gun out. And the officer goes, heck, and fires one shot, which wounds the kid. He ends up dropping the gun. But you can see the gun in the kid's hand. And yet the city didn't want to put that out. That image, they put later image where the kid had his hands up as if he was shot when he had his hands up. So Rich, I make good money doing what I do now, but I earn every penny of it. And that's what a good attorney is going to do, and a good expert, for instance, video analysts, which I am not. I'm not to that level. What I am is a force on video analyst. In other words, they know the zeros and ones, whereas I know what the camera is capturing.